Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Marco from PhoneDog.com. Before we get into our video, I want to talk to you guys about the Boost Mobile offer that we've been talking about the past couple of weeks now. Now, Boost Mobile will give you $50 off your first smartphone if you switch to them before the end of this month. So you have until March 31st to get that $50 off your first smartphone, so you can get whatever you want, plus you get amazing no-contract deals. So you get unlimited texting, talking, and web, all off contract and for as long as you want. So make sure to go click the link in the description box to go check out their $50 off your first smartphone deal at Boost Mobile. Plus, we have many more great deals right here if you click on that link in the annotation. So make sure to go check them out, and let's get into the iPad Air versus Samsung Galaxy Tab Pro 10.1. Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Marco from PhoneDog.com, and today we have the tablet war of a lifetime. Why? Because it's the Apple iPad Air versus the Samsung Galaxy Tab Pro 10.1. Now, I'm sure you've seen the commercials about this being faster, lighter, thinner, basically better than the iPad Air, and it's all the same price tag. So let's talk about it. The iPad Air comes at $499, a dual-core A7 chip, 1GB of RAM. This thing has 8 cores. Yes, you're hearing me right. It has 8 cores for the Wi-Fi model, and it has 2GB of RAM and a bigger, more high-resolution display. So who's going to win? The Apple iPad Air or the Samsung Galaxy Tab Pro 10.1? Let's find out. Let's get specs straight out. The Tab Pro is just plainly more powerful in each and every way. The iPad Air has a new A7 chip dual-core processor with a new 64-bit architecture. The new architecture is not being used by the masses yet, but it will open up more doors for developers who want to use every bit of power inside that processor. You'll also find 1GB of RAM, and that's nothing to write home about, but the iPad Air does do well with its limited resources. The Samsung Tab Pro 10.1 has, well, here we go, one 1.9 GHz quad-core processor, one 1.3 GHz quad-core processor, 2GB of RAM, and the new set of Adreno graphics cards. Compared to a Tab Pro 10.1, the iPad Air is not even in the same league. Display-wise, the iPad Air has the same infamous 9.7-inch display size with a new 2048 by 1536 resolution that we saw on the iPad with Retina display. That clocks it in around 264 pixels per inch. The Tab Pro, on the other hand, comes with a 10.1-inch LCD panel with a resolution of 2560 by 1600 and 299 pixels per inch. The IPS panel on the iPad Air does give better viewing angles, but the clarity of the Tab Pro 10.1 is unmatched. It's more Retina rated than the iPad Air itself. Now, size is also a very important factor between these two. The iPad Air earns its name for being a tremendously lightweight and thin device. It measures in at 7.5mm thick and only weighs 1 pound for the Wi-Fi model. The 4G LTE model is the same thickness but weighs 0.05 pounds heavier. The Samsung Tab Pro 10.1 measures in at a thinner 7.3mm, but almost exactly the same weight, give or take a few tiny grams depending on LTE, Wi-Fi, and flash storage options. Though the iPad Air is made completely from aluminum, which feels quite amazing in the hand. It feels like a solid device, one that could survive a pretty good drop. Now, when I picked up the Tab Pro 10.1 for the first time at CES, it felt completely like a toy. It was pre-production, it creaked, but now this might be Samsung's best and most solid-feeling tablet by far. It's still nowhere close to the aluminum construction of the iPad Air, but it feels so much better than the previous glossy and slippery backs of the Samsung Galaxy Tabs. Software-wise, these are on different planets. On the iPad side, you'll find iOS 7.1 that adds some interesting parallax and card-like multitasking. It feels like a bloated up iPhone, and that's exactly what Apple wanted you to feel. The Tab Pro is also quite similar to its Android phone counterpart, but the main difference lies within scaling and the widgets. Tab Pro 10.1 runs Android 4.4 KitKat with Samsung's new Magazine UX. Similar to the feature found on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3, it adds Flipboard onto home screens just left of the actual home screen. You'll also find the useful features like multi-window. It's probably the best feature this tablet holds because it's real multitasking. You could open almost any application and use them simultaneously with no problems from the hardware. The only downside on the Tab Pro is the lack of tailor-made applications for its screen size. While there are plenty of them optimized for tablets and different screen resolutions, there are a few that just look odd or stretched out phone applications that are running on a larger display. One more and perhaps almost fatal flaw is the document management system. iPads will now come with Pages, Keynotes, Numbers, and the rest of Apple's suite of applications for absolutely $0. Plus, they are all backed to a free 5GB iCloud account. The Tab Pro comes with HandCom's suite of applications with no way to save to cloud directly. There are applications and services like Dropbox, but adds extra steps to your process, but that's just unnecessary. Applications aside, the more useful software is found on the Tab Pro. That's if you don't require document solutions and some weird applications. Next up is performance and battery life. Both of these tablets advertise a 10-hour battery life, and the iPad almost always exceeds that quote, while I've had slightly below advertised battery life on the Tab Pro 10.1. I do see that the iPad Air keeps its brightness near the middle while on auto, while the Tab Pro keeps it between halfway and 3/4 of the way on auto. Multitasking looks and feels much better on the Tab Pro, and with 2 quad-core CPUs, it can handle it like a pro. The iPad has decent speeds, but still a few bugs and kinks to work out of iOS 7. Those kinks include multiple applications crashing when you're loading multimedia content. It's just a pain, but Apple has made some significant improvements with iOS 7.1. Now, Android 4.4 KitKat has not shown any major faults, only a few applications crash, but that's mainly down to developers not updating their code for the new software. One major gripe is Chrome will considerably slow down on media-rich websites on the Tab Pro, and it doesn't feel as fluid as Safari on the iPad. One last thing is towards Samsung's magazine feature. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it resists to refresh, and sometimes it just freezes the whole device, requiring a power cycle. Not sure if that's a widespread problem, but it does occur almost on a daily basis for me. Next up, and rather worryingly, is the cameras. While I don't really care about the rear cameras for tablets, both of them have them. Primarily because 1 in 10 would use this as a daily camera. The Samsung has an 8-megapixel camera, probably lifted off the S4, and the iPad Air has a 5-megapixel camera lifted off an iPhone 4. These are secondhand parts from previous models, so don't expect them to be world-class photo takers. Generally, the iPad Air takes the better photo. Apple is known for taking better photos. And I'll simply leave it as that. The Tab Pro does have a slightly wider angle lens, but it's pretty dismissible when you compare the image quality. So if you had $4.99 to spend on a tablet, these would be in your cart. Which one would you pick? Feature-wise, the Tab Pro would be a better choice, and hopefully with a new kinship with Google, Samsung can push out more and faster software updates than they've had in the past. If you want a simple tablet that's nice to hold, built like a beautiful piece of hardware, the iPad is well known for that. And when people come up and ask you if that's an iPad, you can now answer, well, yes it is. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button located in the bottom of the video. For more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel and also leave some comments below because I'll be responding for them for the first week or so. My name is Marco Hanna from PhoneDog.com, and I'll see you guys in the next video.